I like Moon Knight a bit, maybe, but
This is the worst!
Hello, fellow Disney Plus watcher. It's nice to talk with you about Disney Plus today. And if you're completely new on this channel, just know that normally I do scripted videos to elaborate on my thoughts, maybe a little more. But for now, because I just watched it and I have a few very big problems with it, I'm just gonna ramble on into my microphone and deliver it to you like this. And why do I do this? Because I think it really deserves, my first impressions on the show really deserve their first impression treatment, if that makes sense. So that's why I didn't prepare, but I do have a lot of thoughts on Moon Knight Episode 1, titled The Goldfish Problem. Now, I was very much looking forward to this because I know they described it as, the creators of the show described it as Indiana Jones meets Ghostbusters meets, I don't know, it's about a mentally confused guy, Stephen Grant, aka Marc Spector. I believe it was Marc Spector, and he is played by Oscar Isaac, of course. And I guess if you watch this video, you already know the premise. You probably saw the trailer, so I'm not gonna dive all into that again. I am disappointed. But what I'm not disappointed in is the fact that they did Moon Knight, that they started this series. And hey, it's only episode 1. It's only episode 1. I know. So it will probably be better by the end. I have no doubt. And the Moon Knight action sequences we are going to get, there are probably going to be great action sequences in them, although I do have critiques on the visuals and the action this first week of Moon Knight. Let's talk about the visual language first, because, okay, so it's about this mentally confused guy and he doesn't even know where he is sometimes. And the title of the video says it, by the way, spoiler free, just I didn't mention it yet. Marc Spector is a very distracted and all over the place personality, and I think Oscar Isaac does great, by the way. But I'm going to get into the acting and stuff more in a bit. But the visual storytelling is very shaky cam. It's not even handheld per se. Yeah, it's handheld, all right, but it's more than handheld. It's shaky cam all the way, and also in shots that I felt like were way off. So there's this establishing shot of the museum where Mark works. No, sorry, Stephen. See, I'm getting them mixed up too. I get it. I'm just as confused sometimes as the main character, which is the point, and I commend them for that. Sorry if I'm being all over the place, but I commend them for doing such a bold thing and really confuse us, especially with this first episode. We're all over the place. We don't know what we're seeing exactly. Where is our protagonist? I like that they're trying that, and I think it does not work so far that well. But the shaky cam, the language of the film is the episode, sorry, is confusing and too amateurish. It shakes around and it's too much, and it felt to me like some director. It's directed. The first episode is directed by Justin Benson, Mohamed Diab, and Aaron Moorhead. Okay, so they got 3 directors on this episode, and I thought it was for a Marvel property, it was poorly directed with especially bad CGI. I will cut them some slack on CGI. I don't think it's all that bad if it's a little bit less than what we see in cinemas. I want to be fair, but there were some moments that was it was just very fake, you could see the layers. The visual CGI wasn't always good, but I know that's all I have to say about that. I don't know yet if other episodes are directed by the exact same guys, but I just wanted to say I don't know these directors very well, so I don't know, but it felt like a director, and in this case 3, and maybe that was an issue, got plucked from a sitcom series, but hey, come here, come direct Moon Knight, right? And got very little preparation time to really choose the shots that needed what style of camera work, and they just went with it, and it kind of looks like a mockumentary. And it's funny because all the British accents, it's very my head goes to the sitcoms like The Office, Also because of the characters and the very British accents and the comedy, my head was at what's it called, Afterlife with Ricky Gervais. There was some Ricky Gervais in Oscar Isaac's performance. That was, I don't know, that my association. I'm a big fan of Ricky Gervais, so my head goes there. So I'm just gonna go back and forth between things I really like and things I really dislike. But that's what the camera work felt like to me. It felt amateurish, and that's painful. Not painful. Painful is a big word. Yeah, no, I'm frustrated with this because they really tried something really new. Like, it's next to WandaVision, this is the most unique thing that got out of the MCU by far. And like the character itself, like what the character is going through, it's one of the most interesting protagonists. And again, Oscar Isaac's performance, I was thinking about Ricky Gervais. He walks like an old man sometimes. He's really crippled. He's not in shape. He's always distracted. Even though when he doesn't have a vision or something weird going on, he's still distracted. But he wants to do good. He really wants. He has a really great heart, and it was such sweet moments sometimes between him and his employer. They go back and forth on how his work performance is, and it's very light. It's very sitcom-y sometimes, and the humor is quite good. But I think it's also a tonal issue. The humor. And that pains me to say it because the humor is also one of the things I like. And the structure of the episode is a bit. We get a lot of songs in the episode. So in the first 5 minutes or so, we get 3 different songs, and that was too much. It was jarring, and the more I talk about it, the more problems I have with this episode because too much songs, too much soundtrack, and the score for the series was composed by Hesham Nazi. I'm totally butchering that, but he brought something to the table that felt very mediocre, like very baseline, choir, orchestra, epic superhero sounds, and then sometimes a little bit of an Egyptian touch there. I listened to the main theme right before I went to watch the episode, and I was like, "Ooh, am I gonna listen to the main theme right before? Should I keep that for later? Should I first experience the story and then this great mind-blowing theme song, just experience that again after the?" But I listened to it beforehand, and it's okay that I did because the theme song is very bland, and it's so. I'm such a fan. If you don't know me, I'm such a fan of the soundtrack of movies and shows. I make music myself, so my ears are trained to notice the music. It's one of the most important things, and it's more important to me than for a lot of people. I know more people are like me, but for a lot of people, the soundtrack is something like, oh yeah, I remember that I heard some cues there and there, but I can't. If you would ask me, I don't know. I don't know if I would remember that music, but I remember music. So the theme song was it was just an orchestra and some choir, and the motifs in the scenes and it was very, very bland. And that's disappointing because if the music is very keenly orchestrated and very interestingly put together, then a little bit of a mediocre episode can sound very interesting, and that wasn't the case for me. It was very bland, and I'm sorry, I want to love the soundtrack, and they actually hired an Egyptian composer for this, so they went out of their way to arrange a contract with an Egyptian composer, and when I heard that, I was wow. Now I'm excited for the score more than the score for. More than I was for WandaVision's score by Christoph Beck. Christoph Beck is just a very good but run-of-the-mill American composer. So I was extra excited, so extra disappointed in the score. Still remember I like the humor. I really like Oscar Isaac's performance and the intrigue of what he is going through, what he thinks of how his life is falling apart, how he can't tell the difference between a Friday and a Sunday. You'll see without spoiling anything. But the structure of the episode was, to me, annoying, and that pains me to say it, but because it was the gimmick, it was already a gimmick. Sorry, I'm gonna articulate that better. The idea. You see it in the trailers. Marc Spector is sometimes, bam, in a situation and he doesn't know what the hell is happening. And That can be very interesting, but it became a gimmick very quickly. And there's a lot of scenes in this 40-minute episode where he's suddenly, boom, he's somewhere and he doesn't know why. And it happens so often and so quickly after each other that it becomes a series of gimmicks. Sure, we get some scenes where he's calling with family or whatever, where he really feels that his life, as I said, is falling apart. His baseline life, his basic needs, his basic relationships with people are falling apart because of his mentally confusing, his state. But it happens so often that it becomes a story gimmick, and it makes the episode feel very easy. So it doesn't feel as brilliant as it tries to be, or at least as it projects itself to be, right? So if that makes sense, I don't know, if you've seen it, you probably know what I mean. And this is not for everybody. Maybe it's not for me, but I would rather have a show that doesn't really work for me with some very interesting elements. Right? Than a completely run-of-the-mill Falcon and the Winter Soldier season 2, you know? I don't know why I did that voice. I don't know why I did that voice. That's a reference to the episode of Moon Knight. Okay, I love that this show is being made, and I still look forward to next week. But
this show should just be me coming out going, well done, Netflix, you win everything.
No, this is definitely not terrible, but I expected a way stronger punch. Good humor while being a bit tonally inconsistent. Interesting main character. Some interesting scenes, but scenes that get too much of the same thing over and over again in this 40-minute time window, that it becomes a gimmick. Very annoying music. Sorry, it pains me to say it. And overall, while they do some very interesting stuff with Marc and his reflection and all that, the camera work feels amateurish, and it feels like they didn't prepare long enough to film these scenes, and I hope I'm wrong, and I hope it's very deliberate, and I think it might be, again, one more time, having an establishing shot of a museum and having that shake like it's an action sequence. That's too much. I'm thinking about wrapping this up. Thank you so much for watching. Have you seen the episode? Let me know down below what you thought. Did you like this video? Then it's very great if you would give it a like. That would really help. Thank you. Again, I'm not doing these videos most often. Most often I articulate my thoughts in a scripted video, so know that if you want to subscribe, which you would be very welcome to. For now, have a wonderful day and see ya.